Okay everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel today. We're back on GT Sport and we're back at Brands Hatch for a GR4 race, and we're choosing the 4C for this race. It was the fastest car on this track, but first of all I want to just highlight an issue with this game at the moment. We're going through the grid now and you're going to see we didn't have counter steer assist on. However, look how many people all the way down the grid had counter steer on. You can see it on the dial, on the assist dial there, all the way down to from second through to fifth had it on. Then the Lamborghini didn't. This is no disrespect for the people that are using it, because this isn't there for. You can see there the Megane actually had stability control on with traction control. With traction control I have no issue with. Stability, I think that's another issue where it shouldn't make you faster really. But some people will use it with the Megane. Like I said in the previous video, it helps through the corners. But you know, each to their own. But look how many people in this Alfa Romeo have got the counter steer assist on. And this isn't, like I say, it's nothing to do with the individuals that are using this assist. This is down to Polyphony and them not creating a system that's penalising these people. There needs to be some sort of weight penalty added soon. I'm going to do a video about this soon because it's starting to get out of control. I want to have a look at like how many people are actually doing it in the top 10 in a lot of these cars. There is certain combinations that seems to be abused in this situation with the counter steer assist. I am still not going to use it. I refuse to use it in these races. I think it makes you a worse driver. I have tried it. I did try it in the past. I used it for a few races and it was definitely more consistent and it did make you a bit faster. But I feel like it took too much away from the handling. I felt like it basically drove the corners for you in a sense. There was no catching oversteers and it just dampened the feeling of the game for me. But I just wanted to highlight the issue in this because there was I think there was only 2 Alfa Romeo drivers that wasn't using it, myself and one other, and it really needs to be fixed. I think it's a big issue that Polyphony need to get on top of this, because you're basically rewarding drivers that are just saying, well, I don't want to take control of my car, I want the computer to do it. So let's hope they do something about this soon. They must be aware of it, because nearly all the top 10 leaderboards, you know, in the top 10 for this race I was number 4 or 5 I think it was, and I think I was one of the only drivers not using the counter steer assist. Anyway, so let's get on with this race and see what's going ahead here. You can see we're riding on board with P3 now in the top right hand corner, not P2, because P2 Doffra, VP Doffra, is on a similar strategy to myself, but this guy in P3 is running a different strategy. And I wanted to keep his perspective on there just to show you something as well, how much it does help through it. This is where the key area where this car is so much faster with that counter steer assist on is going through the hairpin. Without it on, I have to be a bit gentle with the throttle and be careful the rear doesn't start sliding out. He could literally just put his foot flat down and the car would just grip, and you could see the counter steer assist working. It starts flashing red when it's, you know, it's active and doing something for the car, and you can see it helping it out so much. It was quite frustrating. I have to say, it is quite frustrating watching it back just how much it does for the car. But I chose not to do it. You can see I'm not running it on my screen. We're just concentrating on doing some really fast laps. My key aim, this was my first ever race in this car. I've never raced with it. I tried it in qualifying, and I have to say this car really suits me. The handling it is, the way you can take so much speed through the corners really helps my style. And I thought, do you know what, for a change I'm not going to worry about fuel management. I want to go aggressive and see what we can do if we really push and just go flat out from the start. So you can see straight away I went aggressive. I've already got out the slipstream. I've got VP Doffra away from my slipstream and I am pushing really hard. I am just trying to go for it on this race, and this was my first ever race in this car, so it was quite a risky strategy, but I felt that confident with the way this car handles. And it brings up another point, for tracks like this car is massively overpowered. It's not even funny. The speed you can carry through the corners compared to other cars is just, it's insane. I mean, going through this corner, you could just carry a lot of speed, and then through this next corner now and the corner after that, this car just grips, bites, and accelerates. It's insane. I've not driven another GR4 car like this, but not much you can do. I managed to get a 28.5 with the Ferrari, and that was my best time I've ever done at this track, bar like before I tried this car. You know, when I driven the M6 I was on like 28.6s. I feel like I'm definitely making progress on the game, so I could probably go faster. You know, if this would have been like back then, I could have gone faster, but obviously I feel a little bit more confident pushing on the game now. So we jumped on with this car and we managed to get a 28.0 and put ourselves 4th or 5th, I think it was, in the top 10 stars. We could have gone a bit faster, but I didn't push it 100% around a couple of the corners, but it was still a very nice lap and I was really happy with that. So you can see again, looking at the screen, we've built up another half a second on this lap. We're really pushing hard. I'm trying to keep consistency and drive really aggressive. I wasn't worrying about my fuel. For this race I just wanted to go 100% aggressive. I knew that there was some people doing the one sub strategy because I did a race in the Ferrari which wasn't very clean. It was a bit messy, and once I was starting from like P6th or 7th or something, because the Ferrari is just so weak compared to the Alfa Romeo. It just puts you in the field and you can't run the strategy you want. I think if I could have ran how I wanted to run the race, we could have done a lot better, just going aggressively. But starting from P6 and 7, it's not worth doing that. But for this race, obviously I'm going aggressive and seeing what we can do, and just trying to concentrate on getting every corner hooked up. I was really just trying to get in the zone, and this is how I like to drive, really. This is how I was best driving on project cars and stuff, when you don't need to worry about your tyres, you don't really need to worry about the fuel, you just got to concentrate on driving flat out. And this is how I like to race this game as well. I really enjoy it more like this, when you can just go flat out, not worry about fuel, and obviously just put the best laps in that you can do. Treat every lap like a qualifying lap. That's how I like to do it, and that does suit me. I'm in general a reasonably good qualifier, so when it comes to a situation in a race where you can drive like that, it tends to help me out. You can see our lap 2 was a 29.2, a reasonably good lap straight away with this car, for race conditions with fuel on and tyre wear, etc. So you can see I'm driving fast and pushing the limits, but I'm not like taking too many risks. I'm keeping it controlled and stable on the track. I'm not like throwing it around corners and sliding and stuff. And you can see we've managed to gain another half a second on Duffra behind us, or about 3-4 tenths on Duffra. So we're doing well at this stage. We're coming to the end of lap 3, and let's have a little look what lap time it is as we go over the line. I was really trying to concentrate on the consistency. So we go over the line on a 1 minute 29.1. So again, just a tenth of a second between lap 2 and 3. This was I knew I had to keep pushing like this, because if anyone is doing that one stop, not pitting strategy, you really do need to be pushing 100% to make sure you beat them, especially if they're a fast driver. I didn't know if anyone that fast was doing the strategy, because I couldn't tell them in the front. So all I had to do was really just drive as hard as I can to just make sure that I'm covering anyone off. I wasn't aware that P3 at this stage was doing the one not pitting at all, because for me, I can't tell what's going on. I could see the map behind me, but I don't know what strategy people are on. Some people just won't be as fast as they can be, and it's just that's why if you're going for this strategy where you're going to pit and you want to go aggressive and you're in the front, this is why I think the best thing to do is just ignore fuel management when you're in the lead. Just go flat out if you feel confident enough to do it. If you don't feel confident in pushing that hard, then probably not the best idea. But if you feel confident that the track, Brands Hatch in general is one of my good, better tracks. On project cars, I got a very good result in the esports competition against some of the best drivers on the game. Like Afo, who you may have seen on GT Sport and some other drivers, and RC Zocchi. People like this were in that race, and I managed second in that race. I did really well, and it's just a track that generally does suit me. But on this game, obviously, it's a little bit different. But now that it was about driving aggressively and not having to worry about your fuel, I felt more confident in pushing at this track, and I really enjoyed just driving flat out from the start. I haven't had many races like this where I could do this. I managed to get a good qualifying in, so I could start from pole position, and then I can just drive aggressively, and I feel like I can get more in the zone and get in the rhythm of the track a lot easier driving like this. You can see I'm literally hooking up every corner at the moment. I'm not making any errors. Lap 4 at 29.2, so we've gone 29.2, 29.21906 I think it is, a 29.101, and then a 29.15 I think it is. So the laps are within a tenth of a second, all 3 laps, and I'm just trying to maintain that consistency and just keep some fast times coming in. As you can see, our sector 1 time wasn't that great through, sector 2 time wasn't the best going through there, so I knew I had to try and push a little bit harder through these sections to get the lap a bit better. And you can see we really nailed that corner. I managed to get that left hand tyre just over that curb and get on the power really early, so I knew that would bring me back in a bit there. You can see again the car just slightly sliding, and this is what people that are using counter assist are missing. I'm having to feel that car sliding, and I'm controlling it with like the accelerator and the steering inputs. But when you try counter steer assist, it basically does all that for you, and it numbs the handling for me. And maybe it's because I'm coming from more of a sim racing background. I want to feel that. I want to be feeling like the car could snap at any time, but you're the one who's controlling that. A lot of people are just ignoring that and obviously going for wanting to be faster, which is 100% fair enough. I don't blame them for it. A lot of people are going to want to have the advantage if the advantage is there, and they're going to take it because Polyphony are not doing something about it. You know, I don't know how long this has been going on, but it seems to be getting out of hand at the moment. I had a brief look at about 3 or 4 of the top 10 leaderboards in the last few days, and I think at least 90% of the drivers are using counter steer assist. There are a few that are not using it, so it's good to see that there still are some. But I think that if we penalise these people for using it, add a weight bias to their car, we're going to see a little bit of a different top 10 stars. I think in some situations, it won't always be the case, but I think generally there will be some differences in times. I think it was worth maybe a 10th or 2 at this track, so it will gain you a fraction. It's not going to gain you like half a second, but over a race distance, 2/10 a lap or something like that could be worth as much as like 3 or 4 seconds, and that can be a big amount in a race. So I think it's something they need to really concentrate on. As you can see there, our lap 5 at 29.3, not our best lap, but again, it was still only 2/10 off our fastest lap. So it was all about consistency at this stage and just trying to maintain speed. Obviously the tyres are starting to take a little bit of wear now. I am pushing really hard, so when you're pushing like this, and we haven't got counter steer assist on, this is the other benefit of counter steer assist. If you watch the guy who's on the top right hand corner, and his car is just acting like he's got brand new tyres on, so you can see the massive difference that counter steer assist is having on the 2 different cars. I'm not using it, and I'm having to be really gentle on the throttle through some of the corners on the hairpin. Have a little look now on his screen how he plants his foot down on the throttle. So he lifts off now, and then look how quickly he puts that full throttle back on there. He's full throttle on straight out before pretty much the midway point on the apex. So he's able to just get on that power so much earlier, and obviously them tyres just don't even look like he's got much wear on them at all. So he's gaining that. Obviously we would have used more tyre wear because we're driving more aggressively. However, the counter steer just makes your tyres wear that little bit better. It's one of the reasons why you'll notice in the FIA races, a lot of drivers are using it in them races as well, because tyre management is really important in them races, because your tyres start really wearing out if you want to do like a 1-stop strategy or 2-stop, etc. Either way, it's really important, because the better you keep your tyres, the faster you can run. So I think they need to do something about this, and I still go by the weight bias thing of adding a little bit of weight to the car, put people off from using it, and make them 3-4 temps slower, and then they're not going to use it. But the people that would struggle with it in general, that do need counter steer assist, are probably not going to notice that 3-4 temps, because they're not driving to the limits anyway. So I just think that's something they need to do. As you can see, we're going in the pits. We've got 18% of fuel left, and we're just going to go in. You can see Doffer managed to save a bit more fuel than us, maybe saved a bit at the start when he was obviously on lap 1 and 2. But that's why I wanted to just go aggressive and just go for a full stretch. We actually made a mistake, if you would have noticed them. I wasn't even looking at the diamond, and I over-fueled by quite a bit. I actually put probably about half a second's worth too much in. It's not a massive amount, but it was a little bit frustrating that I did that, because I didn't need to, because I'd driven one mixture all the way through the race. So I just needed to fill it up pretty much dead on the diamond, even a little bit short normally, because on the last stint, when you're lower on fuel, you generally use less fuel. So the lighter the car is, the better the economy comes on that car, the fuel economy. So I could have gone a little bit under, but that was just a stupid mistake where I wasn't concentrating. I was just in the pits daydreaming. Anyway, you can see we came out on P3. I wasn't sure now what was going on in front of me, whether the drivers in this driver in P2 or 1 were going to pit or not. I would be able to tell after this lap or the next lap what their strategy was, because in general you wouldn't carry on going past lap 9, etc. if you were planning on hitting. So if someone stayed out after lap 9, I know that they're going to stay out, but if they don't, then obviously it's how you work out. This guy in front of me, I kind of, if he wasn't gonna pit on this lap or next lap, then I know that he's staying out. So you can see I'm pushing really hard, because I'm starting to think now, if these guys are not pitting, I'm in a situation here now. So you can see, luckily for me, that guy's pitted, and it was like I predicted. You wouldn't drive past this lap, because your tyres are going off. There's no point losing time with poor tyres. You might as well put the new tyres on. So at this stage, when the leader stayed out, I was pretty much 100% sure that he was doing the no pit strategy. So I knew now I needed to get my head down and start putting some fast laps in and really concentrate on the track, doing some good times. We've got Doffer as well, also putting some good times in that Alfa Romeo behind us and keeping us honest. He's still only 3 point something seconds behind us. He gained a little bit in the pit stop phase which has brought him back up to us a bit from, you know, obviously doing that fuel management that he did. But I still think, like I said, the aggressive approach was definitely the correct approach to this race for me. This is why I've said it in the past, if you get yourself towards the front of the grid, driving aggressively is definitely the best way. But if you're not, you just can't afford to do it, because you're wasting that fuel. Whereas now I'm using that fuel and getting the benefits from that fuel by driving so much faster. So you can see, again, really using the track limits nicely, not taking too many risks again on the curbs, not pushing too close to the edge of the track. Again, I was really in the flow of this track, and I really enjoyed it in this car. This is definitely one of my most probably favourite GR4 cars now for this type of track, although I think they need to slightly, you know, get rid of how fast it is on this type of track. They need to possibly keep the power as it is, but just add a bit of weight to the car, because I think on a previous BOP they decided to add weight, and then also they added decrease the weight, but they also added 3% power. So maybe they shouldn't have decreased the weight on the car, they should have just done the power. Let's see if they alter that in the future. As you can see, again, we're closing in on this guy in front of us now. We're gonna have a look, we're looking back at from his view now, looking back to see if you can start slowly seeing me come into the screen when we come out of some of the corner exits. I go through that sector on a purple sector. Yeah, we're starting to get back used to the tyres being fresh now. It does take a little bit getting used to how much you can push the tyres. It normally takes me a lap just to get back into the mind frame of pushing really hard. You can see there, you can tell that I'm now starting to push. We're going purple. This is where I'm starting to really realise I've got to get on with this, because he's quite a bit in front of us. He's managed to keep that pace without pitting, so he's doing an amazing job in terms of fuel management. You know, credit to him for that. But I just don't like the way the counter steer assist was helping him out in the whole situation. It really it makes me feel a little bit annoyed, really, that it's possible. I feel without that counter steer assist, he wouldn't have been able to maintain the speed that he was doing. I feel like his times would have been at least 4 attempts off pace to what he's doing now. So it's just one of the things you can't do much about. We've just got to wait to see if Polyphony are going to do something about it. I feel like they must know about it, because, you know, they've got access to all these replays. Surely they check them out for BOP and stuff, and looking at what assists people are using. Hopefully they're going to do something about it soon, but whether they will, who knows. As we go over the line on a 1 minute 28.928, going over the fastest lap of the race. However, then I think Doffrin might go over just behind us and take it by literally 0.007 of a second. So he got that one. You know, maybe I should have stayed over to the right hand side of the track a little bit more or something like that to try and get that, but I really wasn't concerned with the fastest lap of the race. All I was really concerned with now was trying to catch this P1. You can see we're getting really close. We've got 2 laps to try and get him. We're getting much closer now, and I did a little comparison on this straight now. When the way he was having to drive, we were about 4 or 5 miles per hour faster by the time we got to the end of the straight. So, you know, that was after the race. Obviously I went back and checked, so an overtaking move was definitely on if we can get close enough to him on this section here. As you can see there, pushing really hard, going through these corners, trying to just use as much of this power as I can use. You know, I've got the full mixture to go. You can see I've overfueled the car, because we've still got 1.7 litres of fuel left, and 1.7 laps of fuel left. So had done it a little bit too much, and we're getting very close to that slipstream now. I'm able to really drive aggressively through all this section. He's obviously having to do a bit of fuel saving, so we're getting closer and closer to that slipstream now, as we're nearly in the slipstream already. So this is where I started to get fairly confident we'd be able to, you know, make a move. We're over a second a lap quicker than him at this stage with how he's having to drive. So we're under a second now from him, so we should be able to make this move if we can just get our car into the position. So going into turn 1, I wanted to just stay in his slipstream at this stage. I wasn't aware how fast he was through this hairpin, and you're probably going to see it now, even though he's fuel saving, just how much grip he gets through using that counter steer assist. And considering his tyres haven't been changed yet, it is a little bit annoying. You can see that angle he takes, and then look how he just gets on the power there, and the car, you can see how the counter steer assist actually corrected the oversteer for him, and that's what I don't like. But there's nothing we can do about it. You can see I'm right in the slipstream now, and I decided to go really aggressive into this corner. You're going to see me now brake really late. I braked really late to try and get as close as I can. I actually outbraked myself and came so close to losing the car, but just about stayed in the track. But we lost about 3-4 tenths of a second, and then we didn't get a good exit on this straight, so I wasn't able to make a move down this straight on the final lap. So I kicked myself for that. I was like really annoyed at it, but I thought I've got to keep going and putting the pressure on him. He's struggling with his tyres, he's struggling with his fuel. You can see we're getting even closer now. Without that mistake, I'm pretty sure we would have had him on the track before this point. So I really need to put some pressure on into him and try and make him make an error some ways. You can see we get really close. Going into this final corner, he loses control of his car as his tyres are going. He runs off down that wide. He couldn't cope with the pressure. We got ourselves into P1, and I feel like that was a just result. You know, I made that error going into that back straight, which probably cost myself a win that I felt like I deserved, but I have to say I was really happy that I got that position back, and especially that he was using counter steer assist and I actually beat him. It made me really happy. So going over the line, we managed to get that win. We go over with not the best final lap, obviously, with that mistake and trying to get, you know, being cautious behind him, going through that corner where he made the error. But we take the win. VP Doffra takes P3. He gained a lot on us on that last lap where we made that error, but again, through the whole race, I felt like I had really good consistency there, and I really enjoyed driving this race. It was so enjoyable to be able to push a car to its limits, not worrying about the fuel, not worrying about tyres, you know, just go in the pits, swap the tyres, and just go flat out right to the end again. A really fun race to be in, and the only thing I have to say is about the counter steer assist and the BOP on that car. Just needs a little bit of adjustments, I think. You know, a little bit too powerful through the corners. Not too sure. Maybe on the straights it's not too powerful. It's just the corners. The speed you can carry is insane. So hopefully that will get sorted out in the future anyway. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed that video. We're going to be back with more GT Sport very soon, and more project cars, and I said, of course, when we get round to getting on them games. So make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed, and click that notification button so you don't miss any future videos. We're uploading daily videos on GT Sport, and it's something I want to keep doing and keep on top of. You know, I want to make sure there's a video on this channel for GT Sport every single day. So make sure you sub the channel if you're into GT Sport. Thanks again for watching, everyone.